YN shouted, her voice trembling with rage. Otherwise what? Huh, what will you do if you lose your temper? Taehyung's eyes darkened. I'll make you cry tonight, just like always. Her breath hitched. You always make me cry, she snapped. Since the day I married you, that's all you've done. Hurt me. Break me. You're stone-hearted. He stepped closer, his voice low and haunting. Then mark my words. A name written on stone never fades, and you've carved yours into this heart. You can't undo it. Not even you. YN's voice cracked with fury and pain. If my name was really in your heart, you wouldn't have slept with someone else. Taehyung's eyes narrowed. Watch what you say, she screamed. Or what? You'll use me again, like I'm your personal puppet. Your toy. Well, I'm not your doll. The silence that followed was sharp and dangerous. He stepped forward. She stepped back. Then, everything changed. There was no warmth in his voice now, only wounded ego, twisted affection, and a storm of desperation. When his hands gripped her arms, she froze. Her chest tightened. Her breath became shallow. A chill ran down her spine. Let me go, she whispered, barely able to speak. Please. He leaned in, his voice a breath of obsession. You said I use you, so let me show you what it means to be used. Her heart pounded. She could feel the threat in the air, not from his body, but from his broken, dangerous mind. Taehyung stepped closer, his eyes dark with emotion as he reached for the back of YN's dress. Slowly, he tugged the zipper downward, the sound echoing in the silent room. He held both of her trembling hands in one of his, preventing her from moving. Taehyung, what are you doing? Let me go, In pleaded, panic rising in her voice as she tried to twist away. He leaned in, brushing his lips against her bare back, his voice a chilling whisper. You said I used you. I'm just showing you what that really means. At the sound of his belt unbuckling, YN's breath hitched. Her heart raced in fear, her body shivering uncontrollably. Tears welled in her eyes, and she could barely keep herself upright, overwhelmed by dread and the threat of a panic attack. Noticing her distress, Taehyung's hands hesitated for a brief second, but his gaze hardened again. He pressed a palm to her back, holding her still. You're shaking already, he murmured, a twisted grin forming. And I haven't even started. Please, In whispered, her voice cracking. Please don't. He ignored her words, focused only on his emotions, hurt, rage, and something darker, as he hovered close to her, his presence suffocating. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she sobbed, her voice barely audible. Stop, please. But instead of pulling away, he placed his hand possessively around her neck, his touch both firm and desperate, like he needed control to feel something again. Something in her face, the tears, the terror, the panic made him pause. She was shaking, not from resistance, but from fear. A panic attack. Her body was going into shock. Taehyung's voice shook with suppressed rage and desperation. Taehyung, through clenched teeth. Greater than, I always put your happiness above mine, always. And in just one moment, you left me. For him. For Jimin. His eyes burned as he stepped closer, pushing her back with the force of his emotions. She stumbled, trying to catch her breath, when suddenly, she felt the overwhelming heat of his body behind her, like a shadow she couldn't escape. Her eyes widened. Greater than, no, she whispered. She tried to turn, tried to resist, but he pressed his arm firmly against her upper back, holding her in place. Panic surged through her chest. Her heart raced. Her voice failed. She felt his presence tighten around her, invading her space. She stiffened as fear gripped every inch of her body. Her thoughts went blank under the pressure of his dominance. His breath grazed her ear, heavy and ragged. Taehyung, in a low voice. Greater than, don't ever try to leave me again. You don't want to see what I become when you do. Her limbs were trembling. She couldn't speak, but the fear in her eyes spoke louder than words. He leaned in closer, his hand sliding around her waist possessively. His obsession oozed from every word. Taehyung. Greater than, I searched for you the whole night like a madman. Worried. Broken. And this is how you repay me. She didn't respond. Silence. Then, with all the courage she had left, she whispered. YN. Greater than, you'll never have my body. And if you ever do, you'll lose me forever. That sentence hit him like a blow to the chest. His breath caught. He growled under his breath, frustrated and furious. Taehyung. Greater than, I'll find you, no matter where you go. Drag you back if I have to. You're mine, only mine. His voice cracked with pain and fury as he stepped back slightly. Taehyung, softly. Greater than, I wanted today to be special, something to remember. But you turned it into a nightmare. His frustration spilled out with the rage bottled up, eyes clouded with heartbreak and obsession. The next morning, she woke up to silence and shame. Not hers, but his, unspoken and ugly. His cruelty had turned into cold commands. Be downstairs in 15 minutes, he ordered. I'm not your puppet, she replied weakly. He whispered without turning. After last night, you should know exactly how I treat dolls. She ran to the bathroom, the echoes of her tears still on her skin. After 15 long minutes, YN stepped out of the bathroom, freshly changed but visibly shaken. Her eyes scanned the room, and she sees. Taehyung wasn't there, a relief across her face. She immediately rushed to the closet, pulling open bags, drawers, and her suitcase. She searched for something, her flight tickets. Her only escape. Just then, the door creaked open. Taehyung walked in slowly, his gaze fixed on her. Taehyung, calm but cold. Greater than, looking for this. He raised his hand, revealing the flight ticket she had hidden the night before. Before YN could react, he tore it in half right in front of her. The ripping sound cut deeper than words. She stared at the pieces falling like paper butterflies to the floor. Before she could say anything, voices echoed from the living room, firm, unfamiliar, official. Taehyung, flatly. If you're done, come downstairs. The officers want to speak with you. YN, confused, anxious. Officers. What? Why? What did I even do? Whatever happened, it was you who did it to me. Without responding, Taehyung took her wrist, not forcefully, but firmly, and guided her toward the staircase. As they stepped into the living room, YN's eyes widened. Several officers were waiting, their faces unreadable, their presence intimidating. She swallowed hard, her mind racing with questions. What was going on now? Living room. 4 officers stood in crisp uniforms, one of them flipping through photographs. Mrs. Kim, one said gently, we're here to ask about the recent break-in. There are inconsistencies. We believe the thief might have had another motive. YN's eyes darted to the photos. The officer handed them to her. Faces of strangers, a shadowy figure, covered in black. But his stance, the way he tilted his head, it triggered something. Her breath caught. A memory slammed into her like a wave. A dark room. Hands touched she didn't want it to recognize. A memory slammed into her like a wave. No, that was years ago, it can't be him, she murmured. Do you recognize anyone? The officer asked gently. She blinked back with fear. No, she said. She ran upstairs, heart pounding. In the mirror again, her old wound stared back at her. It wasn't him, she whispered again, trying to convince herself. But she knew. Taehyung enters the room. His presence was suffocating. She backed away. What happened? He asked. You look scared. YN turned to him, voice quiet but strong. Leave me alone. If you're still not satisfied after what you did last night, then go back to your whore. His expression cracked for the first time. You think I don't get hurt by your words? He snapped. I was searching for you all night like a madman. You think that's easy for me? You hurt me, she said calmly. You don't love me. You own me. The phone call. Taehyung's phone rang. He looked at it, then quickly declined. But YN saw the caller ID. A woman's face. The same one from Valentine's night. She didn't react. Not with words. She simply looked him in the eye. And walked to the window. Silent. But not powerless. Suddenly, Taehyung's phone buzzed again. Same caller. Same girl. This time, he didn't hesitate. He answered and put it on speaker, locking eyes with him the whole time. Girl's voice, soft and teasing. Mr. Kim, thank you for last night. YN's eyes flared with rage. Her fists clenched at her sides. But the girl kept speaking. Thank you for calling the doctor when I twisted my ankle. You really saved me. Click. Taehyung ended the call instantly. Then turned to YN, voice low, calm, dangerous. Now I'll ask you once. And I don't want stories, doubts, or pain-laced sarcasm. Just say yes or no. Do you believe I slept with her? The room stood still. Even the air stopped moving. YN's throat tightened. Her heart screamed yes, it screamed betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak. But somewhere buried deep inside her, was another truth. One she couldn't ignore. He was her childhood, her protector, the one man she never imagined would break her. Yet here they were of their own creation, standing in a storm. Taehyung stepped closer. Answer me. Her voice cracked. I don't know. But I heard her last night. Moaning. You were there. You didn't deny it. Tears welled in her eyes, not of weakness, but of heartbreak. Of love fraying at the edges. And that made it even worse. Taehyung's jaw tightened, eyes burning with restrained rage. He took a step toward YN, voice sharp, trembling with disbelief. It wasn't a F-King moan, YN, it was a scream. A scream of pain. His voice echoed in the room, but he didn't stop. Do I seriously need to stand here and teach you the difference between a scream and a moan? He scoffed bitterly. She sprained her ankle when she accidentally fell into me right when I was trying to answer your damn call. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling like he'd been holding his breath for hours. And what did you do? You jumped to conclusions, packed up your doubts, and left me in the middle of the F-King night. His voice cracked slightly, not with anger but with hurt. Do you even realize what I went through? Searching for you in the dark like a lunatic, not knowing if you were safe, if something happened to you. He looked at her, eyes tired. All because of one scream, and your silence. Taehyung, voice sharp and furious. Wait, let me show you the difference between a moan and a scream. Without waiting for her reaction, Taehyung lifts YN into his arms and throws her gently but firmly onto the bed. He hovers above her, eyes burning with pain and betrayal. YN, nervously. What are you doing? He doesn't respond with words. His actions speak volumes. His lips crash onto hers, not out of lust, but a storm of hurt and desperation. One of his hands grips her wrist while the other presses against her side, making her gasp. As a soft, uncontrollable sound escapes YN's lips, Taehyung smirks bitterly. Taehyung, whispering. That was a moan. Then suddenly, his grip on her wrist tightens, twisting her arm slightly behind her back, not enough to hurt, but enough to make her cry out. YN, in shock and pain. Are you crazy? Let go. It hurts, Taehyung. Taehyung, low and intense. Do you have any idea how it feels, when the only person you've ever loved thinks you're a liar? Do you know the pain I felt when you walked away last night believing I cheated on you? He leans in, brushing his lips against the side of her neck, his breath hot, his voice trembling. Taehyung, you're going to feel every ounce of the pain you made me go through, every single one. He begins kissing her neck, not passionately, but like someone trying to leave behind invisible scars. YN flinches under the intensity of his touch, caught between fear, guilt, and heartbreak. Then suddenly, YN, soft but trembling. If you're telling the truth, then why was her photo on your phone? Why do you have her number? Taehyung freezes. The question slices through the heat of the moment like a blade. His jaw clenches. Taehyung, gritting his teeth, you're still doubting me, After everything, YN turns her face away, refusing to meet his eyes. Her silence stings more than words. Seeing her unwilling reaction, Taehyung pulls out his phone and places it gently in her hand. Taehyung, quietly. Here, take it. Delete any photo or number you want. I won't stop you, except for yours. That's the only one I'll never let go. YN hesitates, then starts scrolling. Through his gallery, she deletes the photo of Ram with the girl taken during the evening meeting. Her fingers tremble slightly, but her expression remains unreadable. As she continues browsing, she stumbles across more photos of herself. At first, she brushes it off. After all, she and Ram had clicked countless pictures together during their college days. But then, something feels off. These photos were different. They weren't from their time together. These were recent, taken after their breakup. And the most disturbing part, she had no idea they were ever taken. Her eyes widen, her heart pounds. Someone had been secretly taking her pictures, and they were all in Taehyung's phone. YN's hands went cold as she stared at the photos, her sitting alone on a park bench, looking out a cafe window, walking home late from work. Moments she thought were private, now frozen in time through someone else's lens. She looks up at Taehyung, her voice trembling. YN, why do you have these? Who took them? Were you following me? Taehyung's expression shifts, surprised, then a mix of guilt and desperation. Taehyung, softly, I didn't take them, but I kept them. YN, voice cracks. Why? Taehyung steps closer. Because I missed you. Because even when you hated me, I couldn't stop looking out for you. She backs away, shaking her head, torn between fear and something unspoken in her eyes. YN, that's not love, Taehyung. That's obsession. That's control. Taehyung, quiet but intense. Call it what you want, but I never stopped protecting you. Even from afar. Even when you ran from me. YN's mind races, confused by the weight of his words. She clutches the phone tighter, her heart pounding. YN whispers. Then tell me, who else knows about these? Who took them? Taehyung looks down. I don't care about those photos. What hurts me is that you did this to me. I trusted you, Taehyung. I believed you would never hurt me, but you were following me. After our breakup, how could you do this to me? Taehyung finally breaking his silence, voice low but emotional. What else could I do? I had no choice. You left for London with Jimin to complete your studies, and I tried to accept it. I tried to move on, but you have no idea what I went through. His voice trembles with the weight of those years. Taehyung, every day, I imagined you with Jimin. Laughing, holding hands. I was dying a little every moment in your memories. But I didn't want to let my pain destroy me, so I turned it into power. I focused on building myself up, worked day and night, bled for my dreams until I became one of the world's top businessmen. He steps closer, eyes locked on hers. Taehyung, I thought, maybe then I'd be worthy of you. That one day, I could fulfill all your dreams. Because in the end, isn't that why you left me? Because I was poor, an orphan, and you wanted luxury, a future I couldn't give. YN opens her mouth to protest, but he keeps going, heart pouring out. Taehyung, I broke myself every night just to become the man you once dreamed of. But then suddenly you came back from London. Without completing your studies. At first, I was so happy. I thought maybe fate was giving me a second chance. His tone darkens with concern. Taehyung, but something had changed in you. You were always lost in your thoughts. Crying when you were alone, pretending in front of your mom that everything was okay when I knew you were broken inside. And that scared me. He swallows hard. Taehyung, I was afraid you'd do something to hurt yourself. That's why I kept an eye on you. I didn't want to leave you alone, especially when I had to travel for international meetings. So yes, I hired someone I trusted to make sure you were safe. To send me updates, photos, anything that showed me you were okay. He gestures toward the phone. Taehyung, those pictures, the ones you saw, they're from the last 5 years. Times when I was miles away, but still worried sick about you. They weren't meant to hurt you. They were my only way of staying connected to the person I could never forget. YN, staring at him, eyes welling up with tears. You were watching over me. All this time, stalking me. Her voice trembles, and the word, stalking, seems to shatter her. It wasn't just a word, it awakened something deep and painful from her past. She clenches her fists, her mind spiraling, struggling to process everything. YN, in her thoughts. I thought he moved on, that he hated me. I left him because I didn't want to be a burden. I believed I was holding him back from the future he deserved. He was always so passionate, so full of dreams. I didn't want to destroy that by being part of it. Tears stream down her face as she steps back, putting emotional distance between them. YN, aloud. And when I saw you growing, rising -1 thought walking away was the right decision. But all this time, you were still stalking me. Taehyung stays still, silently absorbing her pain as she speaks. Her voice cracks again. YN. Taehyung, answer me one question. If I had refused to marry you, would you have forced me into it? Taehyung's expression drops. He stands frozen. Sobbing. Tell me, if I said no, would you have kidnapped me? Would you have, Taehyung rushes forward and stops her before she can finish the cruel sentence. Taehyung, urgently. Please, don't say that. You're misunderstanding everything. It was never like that. His voice softens as he explains. Taehyung, when I went to talk to your mom about marriage, I never forced her, never threatened or pressured her in any way. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself. The truth is, the moment she saw me, she said yes. No hesitation. Like she had been waiting for me to walk through that door, waiting to give you to me, like I was already a part of your destiny. He lowers his voice, hurt laced in his words. Taehyung, I was terrified that she'd reject me because I'm an orphan. That she'd think I wasn't good enough for you. But instead, she welcomed me with warmth I didn't expect. Stands frozen, his words echoing in her mind. But instead of calming her, they trigger something deeper, something darker. A distant memory flashes before her eyes. She's younger, vulnerable, hiding behind a bed, her breath caught in her throat. A man's shadow looms outside the door, watching her. She had screamed. No one came. Her breathing quickens. Her chest rises and falls rapidly. Whispering to herself. No, not again. Not this feeling. Taehyung notices the sudden shift in her demeanor, her pupils dilated, her body